The number one question that I get asked about all the time is how I deal with pests in my garden. And the truth is, I don't use chemicals or pesticides, but I still manage to grow a huge amount of food successfully. So today I want to show you exactly how I do it. Healthy soil is the foundation of everything. When your soil is full of life and nutrients, your plants grow strong and naturally become more resistant to pests and disease. A big part of this is also consistency, including regular feeding, minimal disturbance, and even consistent watering, because any kind of stress on the plant can make it more vulnerable to pests. That's why I always top up my beds each season with compost, manure, rock minerals, and organic fertilizer, and I keep everything heavily mulched to help maintain that balance. I figure this combination covers pretty much everything the soil needs. I also try not to disturb the soil too much because there's an entire microscopic world of bacteria and fungi living underneath the surface that's extremely important for plant health. The more you protect that ecosystem, the healthier your garden becomes over time. Inconsistent watering can also stress plants out, and stressed plants attract pests much more easily, so I try to keep the soil evenly moist and heavily mulched, especially through summer. When I first started vegetable gardening, I used to think, why would I waste space growing flowers when I could grow more food? But I've completely changed my thinking on that. Flowers are one of the best things you can add to a vegetable garden. Not only do they make the garden beautiful, but they attract beneficial insects that help keep pest populations under control naturally. They also bring in bees and pollinators, which are essential for food production. These days I try to have flowers growing absolutely everywhere, in pots, around garden beds, and throughout the food forest. And I've noticed a massive difference in pest pressure. Some of my favourites are French marigolds. These help control root knot nematode in the soil, especially near tomatoes, and they can also help repel aphids. Nasturtiums. These work as a trap crop. The pests go to the nasturtiums instead of your vegetables. Petunias are great for repelling aphids, squash bugs, and hornworm. Calendula repels aphids, whiteflies, while attracting hoverflies and ladybugs, which are absolute pest control machines. Geranium, their strong scent helps repel cabbage moth and leaf hoppers, so they're great near your brassicas. And alyssum, one of the best beneficial insect attractors. I have alyssum planted all throughout my garden. Over the last couple of years, I've started adding more herbs throughout the garden beds as well, usually around the edges and tucked into corners. Herbs give off strong scents that confuse and deter pests. Basil is perfect near tomatoes. It repels mosquitoes, aphids, and whiteflies. Dill repels aphids, spider mites, and caterpillars while attracting hoverflies and ladybugs. Thyme and oregano, these strong-smelling herbs help repel aphids, cabbage worms, maggots, and whiteflies. Parsley, when parsley flowers, it attracts bees and butterflies and also acts as a host plant for beneficial insects. Lemongrass is amazing for repelling mosquitoes. Mint is great for repelling rats, ants, aphids, and cabbage moths, but definitely keep it in a pot because it spreads aggressively. Chives are super easy to grow, and the onion smell helps repel aphids and hornworm. Great to be planted near tomatoes, strawberry, and brassicas. Sage has a strong smell that helps deter cabbage moths, carrot fly, flea beetle, and even snails. And rosemary. Rosemary is an absolute workhorse in the garden. Its strong scent helps repel cabbage moths, mosquitoes, slugs, and snails. Having birds in and near your garden can be a good thing. They are great for eating caterpillars and other pests in the garden. Yes, they sometimes grab a cherry tomato or strawberry, but they are worth it for the pest control. Having a bird bath nearby is a good way of attracting them into your garden, and usually if they are eating your tomatoes and fruit, it's because they are thirsty. I actually want birds in my garden because they eat huge amounts of insects and caterpillars. One of the best things I ever did was build this greenhouse covered in fly screen netting. It keeps Queensland fruit fly and other pests away during summer while still allowing airflow and sunlight through. This is where I grow taller summer crops like tomatoes, cucumber, and corn. People often ask how pollination works inside the enclosure. Tomatoes are self-pollinating. You just need to give the flowers a little shake if fruit isn't setting. The cucumber varieties that I grow are self-pollinating hybrids, and just to clarify, hybrid is not the same as GMO GMO. They're often confused, but they're completely different. I've honestly had way fewer pest problems with hybrid cucumbers compared to heirloom varieties, and they're incredibly productive. Corn is wind pollinated, so it still pollinates perfectly fine inside the enclosure. You can also use netting over your brassicas to stop cabbage moths, and netting over your fruit trees to protect from possums and crops vulnerable to Queensland fruit fly. Sometimes a simple physical barrier is the easiest solution. Rats, slugs and possums, these are probably the hardest pests to deal with naturally. With possums, I found the biggest trick is simply not planting too close to fences. Possums don't really like coming down onto open ground, so if your garden beds are further away from fences or climbing access points, you'll usually have fewer problems. Rats are honestly the one pest I still haven't fully solved. They've wiped out entire crops overnight, which is incredibly frustrating. Right now I'm using bait traps, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I'm planning to install owl boxes around the property because owls are one of the main natural predators of rats. I'd much rather create a natural balance long term, so I'll definitely keep you updated on how that goes. Slugs have been a major issue for me this year. I found crushed eggshells help a bit, and I'm also planting more rosemary and sage around the beds. I've tried beer traps before and they definitely worked, but with the number of slugs I have, it just becomes too expensive to maintain. I've also started using autumn leaves as mulch, as it's autumn right now and I've been collecting all the free leaves around the neighbourhood, so I'm hoping this creates a rougher surface that they don't enjoy moving across. One of the worst things you can do is plant huge sections of the exact same crop together. Pests love that because they can easily find their favourite plants. Instead, I like to mix everything together and interplant crops with strong smelling plants like onion, garlic and herbs. The strong scents help confuse pests and make it harder for them to locate the plants they normally target. One thing I've learned is that in an organic garden you have to accept a little bit of pest damage. You're never going to have perfect supermarket looking vegetables, and honestly that's okay. A healthy garden is all about balance, not eliminating every single bug. Honestly, one of the best control methods is just walking around the garden every day and checking your plants. The earlier you can catch a problem, the easier it is to control naturally. Picking caterpillars off brassicas, squishing aphids by hand, or as I do, blasting them with a hose, and checking underneath leaves regularly is a simple and organic way to manage pests. So hopefully this gave you a few practical tips that you can use in your own garden to naturally reduce pests without relying on chemicals or pesticides. I definitely still get pests and lose crops sometimes, but over time I've realized it's not about eliminating every bug, it's about building a balanced garden system. The more diversity you add with flowers, herbs, wildlife, mulch, good soil, the more everything starts to regulate itself naturally. And that's really the biggest shift in organic gardening. For me, that's what organic gardening really is, working with nature, not against it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video and got some helpful ideas. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one.